everyone, welcome to my channel and welcome to making a cat bed tutorial. So I'm just going to run over a few things that you might like to have ready, and you can get most of these at Spotlight, Lincraft, if you're international, any sewing or craft shop. So I've chosen my fabrics and we're going with a Christmas theme. Christmas is coming up. And I've just, so this will be for the outside, and I've just chosen you can use a fleece, this is like a buttony fleece for the inside. And I'll put it on the screen, but I usually go for 80 centimeters, but maybe get a meter by meter of each, just so you've got enough. Ribbon, usually 3 meters for one bed. Cotton thread, tape measure, scissors, pen, and for the needle focus either 90 or 100, I think, for this one. And again, I bought this from Spotlight. Any wadding, stuffing, toy fill will work, and I'd recommend having 1 kilo of that. You won't need that much, but just in case. And the sewing machine, very basic. I think I bought this from Spotlight for $100 a year ago, and yeah, any brand. For patterns, I will put this on the screen, but I use 2. The first one is 1/4 of a circle. You want the entire circle to be 75 centimeters diameter. I will put that in inches on the screen, and I've just got it here. Sorry, about 15 inches across and about 38 centimeters, roundabout. Second pattern, this is the circle that goes in the middle. And I traced around a dinner plate to get that nice circle, but it is 25.5 centimeters. So ready to cut the fabric. I folded over once and twice. So you've got a 4-layer corner there, and the pattern just goes on there. I've got to say you'll need a Nappy safety pin for later, and I'm just using normal pins to pin this down. Next step, we're going to turn both the good sides to face each other, and we're going to pin all around and leave, when we sew, leave one area. We have a helper. Hello. Leave one area open. All pinned. We're going to sew all around. Doesn't really matter which area you leave, but there needs to be a gap so we can pull it through the right way. So very important to leave a gap. And look, if you haven't made anything like this before or quite new to sewing, I'd leave a bigger gap. But yeah, that's fine. And we've got our helper back. Hello. We'll pull it in the right way. Don't worry if you've got more of the fleece than this, it's just because the fleece is a bit more stretchy than this isn't. Okay, about to begin our first line of stitching on the outside. So fleece on the inside and this one on the outside. And I usually have it so, I'm not sure if you can see it, the outside of the foot is on the outside of the fabric. And we'll leave that opening, and you can see we've made a nice line of stitch. Next step, we're going to do another line of stitching, and I usually match the outside of the fabric to the edge of this silver thing, and I'll get a measurement. So it's about 1.5 inches, 3.5 centimeters. And I'll start again where I started the last line of stitch. So we've made two lines of stitch around, and this is the area where the ribbon's actually going to go through. The next step, and this is absolutely up to you, I like to put some trim around the outside. Don't need to do this at all. In fact, some people prefer not to because the cats can chew it. I haven't found mine do that. So trim around the outside. So you need to flip it over so we have the Christmas fabric facing up. Leave a little bit of trim there, and it goes in there. Now I usually switch it to the zigzag, or you can keep it on the straight and do 2 lines. Because this trim's not very wide, I just do 1 line of zigzag. Okay. Okay, again, I've stopped here, left the opening. Just make sure you cut enough trim, probably more than you think you'll need, so it can go right round the circle. So I'd give it quite a bit of extra there. Okay, so we've gone all around. Now the next step, we're going to make a buttonhole. Has to be between these 2 lines of stitch, but it has to be where the gap is, where the hole is. So anywhere between these 2 is fine. Look, I'm not very good at buttonholes. I know you can get a special foot to do it. I usually just do 2 lines of zigzag one here, then I swing it around and do another there and another there, and I'll go back and forward so it's thick enough, and I'll show you once I've done it. Okay, so I've made my buttonhole. Again, I think there's probably a far easier way of doing it, but all I've done is I've gone back and forward 4 times around with zigzag, maybe 3 times. It's main tip I think is be careful you're not sewing through a double layer of the fleece, and really be careful you're not sewing through the red. Okay, next step, I'm going to flip the circle over so the nice side is facing down. I forgot to say, I chop up a bit of quilt and put that in the middle under the circle. I get this from Kmart, but any cheap comforter quilt will work. So we've got our circle, which goes in the middle. Don't worry if you've got a bit of excess, because we're going to stuff it. You won't notice this at the end. So I put my little piece of quilt in there. Our circle goes over the top, and this is why I have the tape measure. So before you pin it down, you're going to try and get it as centered as possible, and I go around the outside, just measuring to try and make it as even as possible. So it's usually about 19 to 20 centimeters. Okay, all pinned, ready to go. I spend quite a bit of time measuring between here and this line. It's important to get as close as you can to even around, just to prevent the bed looking a bit lopsided. Circle. Sometimes this happens. I wouldn't worry about it at all. Can't really see it when it's on the bottom of the bed, but as long as the circle's round, absolutely fine. Okay, next step is actually the stuffing part. Always very satisfying. All our stuffing in. It's really up to you how much you use. For this one, I think I've used maybe 750 grams. The more you use and the thicker it is, the trickier the last part will be. But at the same time, it is nice to have a big firm bed. So yeah, really up to you. Okay. Probably the trickiest part of this, I usually rest it on a tin or a box just so you've got a bit of height. This is a lot easier if you don't put as much stuffing in it. You can pin these together. I don't, I've just found the pins get in the way. But the idea is we're going to tuck these both like that and sew them together around the outside to close up the circle. Okay. Next step, I turn it over and we're going to finish sewing the trim on the outside. I find it's much easier to do it now instead of after you've done the second line of stitching. Last step for sewing, I've turned it over. So we're going to do our second line of stitching. We're going to do it right along on this side of the buttonhole, and we're going to join it to the other side. It's probably the trickiest part of the bed. I really haven't found an easy way to do it. Again, if you've got less stuffing in it, that helps. And that's why I have the tin underneath, just to tilt it up a bit, to give it a bit of an angle. Turn it back to straight. All done. Can see sometimes it does get a little bit uneven, but we can always mold that round once we put our ribbon through. And the next step, we're going to cut through the buttonhole, just through the fleece, not through the red part. Doesn't have to be very big, just enough to fit nappy pin through. There. What we're going to do, we're going to hook the nappy pin through the end of the ribbon and just thread it through. That's our bed finished. You can sort of mold it to make it look a little more even. You don't have to draw it up as tight as I have, but here it is. Bottom.